everybody? Well, the University of Oklahoma will host a possible 4 games in the preseason NIT championships. The expected games will be Stetson, Wichita State, Gonzaga, and then possibly Louisville if Louisville wins out. The Oklahoma Sooners are the number 1 seed in the bracket. So that's why, even though that Louisville is a little bit more highly ranked, they will host the tournament because Oklahoma is the number 1 overall seed in the bracket. They should start off against Stetson. Stetson, their mascot, is the Hatters. And in 2012, the Hatters were 24-9. They lost in the first round of the NCAA championships to UCLA. Their head coach is Leanne Brea. She's in her 5th year with the Hatters, with a 94-13 record overall. Along with being at Stetson, she's been at Texas Women's University from 1993 to 1996, University of Central Florida from 1996 to 1999, the University of Ohio from 99 to 06, took a year off as an assistant, came back into D1 basketball from 08 to present. The Stetson Hatters, returning players for points, assists, and rebounds, the 3 main goals are as follows. Sasha Sams averaged 12.03 points per ball game last year with a assist ratio of 0.97 and a rebound mark of 4.06 on the year. The next returning player for the Hatters was Chelsea Burris. Burris had an 8.61 point per game average, a 0.89 assist per game average, and a 4.36 rebound per game average for Stetson. Of course, Stetson will play our University of Oklahoma Sooners in 2012. The Oklahoma Sooners finished 24-11. They lost in the NCAA Sweet 16 round of the tournament to Tennessee in the Oklahoma City Regional. Sherry Cole is in her 18th season at the university. Through the first 17 years, she has a 381 and 179 average of .680 overall average. She spent all 18 years with the University of Oklahoma. The returning players for Oklahoma, as part of the 3 main assists average, are as follows. Erin Ellenberg, she averages 11.7 points per ball game, 7.0 assists per ball game, and 3.3 rebounds per ball game for the Sooners. The next player in line as far as returning players is Nicole Griffin. Nikki averages 11.3 points per ball game, 3.2 assists per ball game, and 4.9 rebounds per ball game for our University of Oklahoma Sooners. The next round of the preseason NIT, second round, could be Wichita State. The Shockers of 2012 were 24-10 last year. They lost to the Texas A&M Aggies in College Station last year in the first round. Jody Adams is in the 5th year behind the Shockers of Wichita State. Over 6 years of coaching, He has a career 116 and 7.9 average, averaging it out to about 5.95% or 0.95. In 2007, he was with Murray State. And then from 2008 to present, he's been with the Shockers of Wichita State University. The returning leaders for Wichita. Alex Hayden. Hayden averaged 11.7 points per ball game last year for the Shock. 3.6 assists per game last year for the Shock. And right at 5 rebounds per game last year for Wichita State. The other main player on there is Michele Deprich. Deprich averaged 7.7 points per ball game, half an assist, which is 0.5 assists per ball game, and 2.8 rebounds per ball game for the Shock last year. They will play the Sooners of Oklahoma. The Sooners were 24-11 last year. Lost in the Twins in the Sweet 16 round in Oklahoma City to the University of Tennessee. Sherry Cole is their head coach. She's been here for 18 years, entering her 18th year. In the 17 years that she's been here, she has a 3.81 and 1.79 win-loss ratio with a winning percentage of .680 all of the years. 17 coming into 18 years, all of them have been with Oklahoma. Sooner women's basketball. The returning leaders for the Sooners are as follows. Erin Ellenberg, last year she averaged 18.7 points per ball game, 7 rebounds, assists per ball game, and 3.3 rebounds per ball game for the Sooners. As for Nicole Griffin, she's the next returning leader. She averaged 11.3 points per ball game, 0.32 assists per ball game, and 4.9 rebounds per ball game for the University of Oklahoma. If you go by the way that things should look, Gonzaga should travel east next, as they will face Oklahoma in Lloyd Noble. Gonzaga last year in the 2012 was 27-6 last year. They lost in the first round to a Big 12 foe of Iowa State, 60-72 in Spokane, Washington. Their head coach has been there for 13 years. He's spent a couple of years at St. Mary's from 1997 to 2000, and then has been at Gonzaga since that time. Overall, he's got 353 wins and 156 losses at the two universities, averaging at about out to .694 winning percentage. For the Bulldogs, Hayden Palmer is the leading returning player for the Bulldogs. She averages 12.46 points per ball game, 2.42 assists per ball game, and 3.85 rebounds per ball game for the Gonzaga Bulldogs. And Sunny Greenitcher, she averages 9.24 points per ball game, a .24 assists per ball game, and 4.88 rebounds per ball game for the Boomer Sooner opponent in Gonzaga. Speaking of the Boomer Sooners, the Oklahoma Sooners. 2012, 20-11 last year. Lost in the Sweet 16 in Oklahoma City to Tennessee. Sherry Cole is in her 18th year of the at OU. In 17 years, she has 381 wins and 179 losses, averaging it out to about a .680 winning average. All 17 years have been here at OU. Last year's returning players, Erin Ellenberg. She averages 18.7 points per ball game, 1.31 assists per ball game, and 3.34 rebounds per ball game for the Sooners. Nicole Griffin is next on the list. She averages 11.26 points per ball game, 1.66 assists per ball game, and 4.89 rebounds per ball game for the University of Oklahoma. And finally, if they make it this far to the championships will be against, it looks like at least, the Louisville Cardinal in the WNIT. The Cardinal went 29-9 last year, finishing off that team at Tennessee that Oklahoma couldn't beat, and led that all the way to the national championship, where they lost to the University of Connecticut 93-60 in the NCAA championship game. Jeff Waltz is in his 6th career at Louisville with 148 wins and 65 losses, making his winning percentage at 6.95, and has been at Louisville since 2007, with that being his only coaching job at D1 women's basketball. The leading returners for that team that went all the way to the national championship, Shnoe Schimmel. Schimmel averaged 14.18 points per ball game, 14.18. Assists per ball game was at 3.61, and rebounds was at 3.12. Sarah Hammond is also on the leading returning lists. She averaged 10.81 points per ball game with 1.09 assists per ball game and 6.35 rebounds per ball game last year for the Cardinal. As far as the other team in that Oklahoma City bracket last year, one of the other teams in that Oklahoma City bracket last year was OU, Oklahoma. The Sooners, 24-11 last year, lost in the Sweet 16 round to Tennessee in Oklahoma City. Sherry Cole in her 18th year at Oklahoma. In the 17 years that she's coached, she's got 381 wins and 179 losses, averaging it out to about 0.680 winning percentage. All 17 years, coming into 18 years, all of them have been here at the University of Oklahoma. Erin Ellenberg is one of the returning scorers for this team. She averaged 18.7 points per ball game last year for the Sooners, with 1.31 assists, and 3.34 rebounds per ball game for the Oklahoma Sooners. Nicole Griffin, on the other hand, she's another one of the leading scorers. She averaged 11.26 points per ball game, 1.66 assists per ball game, and 4.89 rebounds per ball game for the University of Oklahoma. Hopefully, Oklahoma will get to host all these teams in the WNIT. And if that happens and they win, it'll set a tone for this team. But remember, 24-9, 24-10, 27-6, 29-9. Those are what the 4 seeds are. Those are who Oklahoma are projected to play. Again, that's 24-9 for Stetson, 24-10 for Wichita State. Then, if they get past the first 2 rounds, the semifinals will be against Gonzaga. They went 27-6 last year. And if they make it that far and beat Gonzaga, they'll play in the championships. A team that Oklahoma could have faced last year in the Elite 8 game. If they had not lost to Tennessee, Louisville, that Louisville team went 29-9 last year, getting their 9th loss all the way in the national championship game. This has been a preview of the Oklahoma Sooner bracket of the WNIT. Thanks for watching, everyone. And as always, Boomer Sooner, everybody. Take care.